Hello, welcome back. If you have ever felt overwhelmed by your schedule because you feel like there's just not enough time in the day to get everything done, or you feel overwhelmed because you have way too many interests and you don't know where to focus your energy, I want to give you a way to look at it so that you are moving more in line with your own natural design instead of trying to fit yourself into this linear, more masculine way of doing things. And it's a system that I've been using for a few years now. It's called organic thought. It's an idea that my wonderful husband brought into our lives a few years ago, and in my experience, it moves with the feminine way of being a lot better than a linear masculine external validation type way of being, and I'll explain it to you here. The idea starts with these 5 main areas of your life that everything else falls under. The 5 areas are mind, body, home, family, and creative, some kind of work based on your calling. So the first area, mind, which for me it's rooted in God, it looks like this. It's the center of the organism. Okay? So like that. The second one is body. So that's like a circle around mind. It builds off of that. Next is home, and you can kind of see where I'm going with this. It's concentric circles around the innermost thing, which is God, mind. So the next one after home would be family and creation. Personally, I just call that one music because music is my creative vocation, but this is what it looks like. And it looks very different from a linear to-do list or a blocky schedule or having to adhere to alarms and things like that. So what's really cool about this is that instead of measuring your productivity against something external, this allows you to tune into the natural rhythms of yourself, of how you operate, and also the things that you interact with. So then you start getting this feedback loop between you and everything in your life, and everything starts to breathe more. Okay, so let's take it out of abstract thought and into some tangible examples. So okay, so let's go into each of these areas. So the center, mind, God. This is about aligning your spirit before anything else. So we'll take a day, a standard, typical day, as our frame. You wake up, and the first thing you want to do always is to get your mind right. For me, the way that I get my mind right is I align with God. I meditate, get into a still place, I go into prayer, I do my routine there. I read the Bible, make sure I'm right. And then I move into, once that is complete, so you naturally feel a completion of each task or each activity, each rhythm. You'll feel the ending of it. I'll feel, okay, I can move on to the next thing. And the next thing would be body. So naturally, when your mind is right, then you can move to your attention to your body. So this can be, for a lot of people, it can be movement, going to work out, or it could be as small as getting up from your room and going to the bathroom. That is you tending to your body. It could be you getting a glass of water. That is you tending to your body. So now you're in this field of directing your attention toward feeding this area of life, which is essential because your health is everything. So pretty simple, right? So for mind, you breathe into the body. And when that rhythm is complete, maybe you're finished with your workout, or even you're just done with taking your morning water and you've taken your vitamins, or maybe you've taken a walk. You enter this state of completion, and then you move on to the next life area, which would be home. Home is the next one because when your room is messy, you can't really, at least this is for me, if your room is messy, you can't really like interact with people just yet because your mind still is like left in the mess of your room. So the reason why it goes home first before relationships is because there's so much more variable that you have to attend to with relationships. And so the most natural progression from body is into home, which is a little bit more stable. So you create stability and peace in your environment when you're attending to the home life area. So again, this can be as big or as small as the moment calls for. When we take it back into our day, so say I've taken my water, I've gone to the bathroom, I've done my vitamins, it feels like there's a little lull in that mode of focus, and now I'm looking at what can I tend to within my home. So usually for me, it's letting the animals out, letting the dogs out, or feeding the cats, feeding the chickens. This is all kind of lumped into the household area. Sometimes it could be unloading the dishwasher from the night before. And I do my thing. You just do your thing until it feels complete. When you do that, when that happens, then you can move on to the next area, which is family. So some people don't have family. Maybe you are in college, or you're like a younger person, and the closest people around you are your friends or your roommates. This would fall under that life area. So human relationships and dynamics. And this is where you would enter the field of tending to your closest relationships. That could be making breakfast for everyone, or your husband, as I do. That could be changing your baby's diaper. That could be calling your mom, or calling my dad. He lives in the Philippines, and so we'll have our FaceTime conversations super early in the morning. So that's when I can tend to that relationship. After that, once that is complete, an iteration of that is complete, then you can move on to creativity. Notice that I'm not doing everything all at once and just trying to smash all of the housework in this time frame. Maybe on some days that is the case, and that totally works. And how you can gauge the rhythm for that is if your focus is maintained and you still find yourself capable of operating in that field without breaking your attention. Once your attention is broken, there is some energy that is required to bring it back, which is a practice in and of itself. But if you do that and kind of like go against the natural way that your life is breathing today, then what I've found is that you get more fatigued mentally. But experiment with yourself and your life, because everyone's life is so different, and you're going to require some customization. So after family, once that's complete, I will then, or you will then, we will then, according to this organic way of thinking, is move into our work, creative work. Maybe you have a business, maybe you have something that you're working on as it pertains to your life's calling. Whatever it is, for me, it has largely to do with music and acting and performing and all of the typical like artistic creative things. We also have a family business. So yeah, so all of that would fall under creative work because you are applying yourself creatively in that area. For me, it varies on any given day. I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I get to make my own schedule. So for creative work, I have a lot, and I know that this is a struggle for a lot of people too. You have just so many ideas and so many things that you want to invest your time and energy in. So then there's this issue of, well, what do I choose? And that's a whole nother video. Like, if you want to know my thought process and philosophy for that, leave me a comment because I'll make a video on that. So that's going to require some prioritization, and the ones that do have deadlines or some time constraints are going to be the most urgent. So for example, I am an actor, and today I have a self-tape due. So after family time, after we had breakfast, I came into the room and entered the field of creativity, so the creative life area. And what I did was simply got ready. I put my makeup on, I got my hair done, I picked out my outfit for the self-tape. And that is considered putting watering that area, if you will. There came a point where I was complete with that task, and instead of going straight into the self-tape, because there were some other things that my family and household required of me, I went back, not back, I feel like language is so limiting sometimes. I'm still working out how to communicate this in a more organic way as well. But I was here on the outermost part of the sphere, and now I'm inhaling back to center, and it really begins to feel like this giant breath. Within each of these areas, you feel the breath, starting the task, completing the task. So starting would be inhale, completing would be exhale. And then once you've gone through this entire sphere, you always return back to center, and you're constantly resetting and renewing. So returning back to center could just look like a deep breath. Literally. It could be an affirmation, or reciting your definite chief aim, whatever your family vision is. It could be just saying a tiny prayer or inviting God into the present moment. It could be something as lengthy as, okay, I need to stop right now and meditate, or I need to go take a nap and enter the dream realm and commune with the infinite intelligence of Source. Whatever it is, you go back to center. And then you start the whole inhale, exhale process again. That's the whole process of organic thought. It's really, really served me well for years now, and I wanted to share that with you because it's going to help you think about things in a more fluid, organic way, and you won't feel constricted by time and the structures of schedules that we busy ourselves with here in this plane. And you start to feel that this is way more aligned with your true nature. It's not about that linear, sequential, go, 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 onto the next thing, onto the next thing, which has its benefits in a lot of ways. It really depends on what you are looking to achieve. I find that if you're a mother and you're a feminine essenced being, that this helps to serve your nature, and it serves the energy and tone of your home. So let me know if you try this out, and if you have any questions. I would love to just nerd out with other moms about how to better run the house, how to improve your family culture. This by far has definitely been one of those things, and I'm so glad to be able to share it with you today. And until next time, be well today.